Passed away last week. And the funeral service has been arranged for Saturday at 11 a.m. at Shiloh Baptist Church in Salem. John will be sending out an email to make everybody aware that that's when the service is going to be held. And there is a card for Stephanie that we'll be passing around too. And also, Mike McAvoy's father had a little bit of a health episode last week, but Mike reports that home and on the road to recovery and doing great. So we're happy about that. 11 of us attended the district convention in Richmond on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and a good time was had by all. And that accounts for these guys being dressed like hoods.
Although we're pretty good naturally.
And I can say that because I grew up in an Italian funeral home. So I know a little bit about Jews guys, you know. Obrakta and his wife and Beth and I were there, and John and Joyce and Hi Nicely was there, and just a really good turnout, I think Roanoke was well represented. Hi was elected as a trustee to the foundation. Actually president of the foundation. So we're very proud of that. The call for introduction today is President Tyler. The Pledge of Allegiance will be Harry Zuloff, and Pegram will be introducing our guests. So, Preston, take it away.
The word resolve means firmly determined to do something all in. There's a story about farm animals. There was a cow, there was a hen, and then there was a pig. And they all wanted to do something for their farmer. He was a great farmer, so they wanted to do something. The cow said, "I'll give the milk." The hen said, "I'll give the eggs." The pig did not say anything. Again, the cow said, "I'll give the milk." Hen said, "I'll give the eggs." The pig did not say a mumbling word. But then the cow said, "You little cow, you give the milk and you'll go on and do your thing. Say, hen, you give the eggs and you'll get back and lay some more eggs. But if I'm to provide the bacon, the ham, and the sausage, I've got to give up my life." I said all that to say that when you are resolved, Kiwanis, there is a difference in being involved and being resolved. Because you can be involved and get out of the involvement. But when you are resolved, you got to go all the way.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just want to add some things because it might start digging.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's so good to see you. You doing okay? I'm doing well. Busy, but that's a champagne.
All right, we're all set.
We like that. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Good afternoon. We have with us 6 guests today, and I would like to ask the guests to stand up with their Kiwanis host when I call your name. And I'm going to start with Jennifer Fletcher, who is from Windsor Hills United Methodist Church, and she's a guest of Don Witt and Ken Briggs both. And she's right back at this back table. Courtney No and Lauren Thomason are both from the Northside High School Key Club, and our guests are Reeve Kessler, and they are over here at the far table. Jennifer, is it Losel? I should have asked you. Losel with New York Life is here as a guest of Clark Goodman, and she is right over here with Clark. And Vicki Keith is here. Where is Vicki? Vicki's over here at this table. She was at the convention and was invited by Hi Nicely, who unfortunately is sick today. But she has John Montgomery's card in her wallet, so that got her in the door. Vicki, we're delighted you came. And last but not least, Matt Trantham with the Salvation Army is right up here. And he is a guest of Greg Lineberger, who is over here. And he has turned in his application to be a new member. So we're excited.
We get to present a permanent badge to a couple of folks today. Steve English, if you'll come forward and surrender that temporary job, we'll officially pin you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. For the benefit of our guests, there's a whole bunch of stuff you have to do to get your permanent badge, like attend a board meeting and join a committee. And Steve is actually the head of our scholarship committee. So kids, pay attention. He's the man. Thank you. And Brooke Tolley, Brooke, are you here today? Yeah, okay. At this time, Reeve Kessler would like to introduce the Lieutenant Governor for Key Club, Courtney Nago.
Thank you, President Ben. Reeve Kessler, this club's Service Leadership Program Coordinator. And I'm at the podium here to introduce Courtney No. If you are incredibly good with names and faces and have excellent memory, you might recall that Courtney was here with us once before last spring as a part of the Northside High School Key Club leadership team. She is here today as the Division 15B Key Club Lieutenant Governor. She's currently a senior at Northside. She's obviously an excellent student and accomplished track participant, and I'm sure has many exciting accomplishments in her future, and I wish her well with those. Some of you may be aware that this club makes available to the Key Club Lieutenant Governor some funds to attend Key Club conventions. And Courtney was able to use those funds to attend the Capital District Key Club Convention in Northern Virginia last spring, and also attend the International Key Club Convention in Southern California over the summer. She's here this morning to talk to us a little bit about her experiences at those conventions and as an update for what things going on in the Key Club world. So here is Courtney No, our 15B Key Club Lieutenant Governor.
Good afternoon, everyone. It has been a couple of months since my last visit to a Kiwanis lunch, and I hope you all are well. I'm so excited to be able to stand before you all today and reflect on my recent Key Club experiences. Famous author Maya Angelou once said, "Be present in all things and thankful for all things." I wanted to include this quote because it's a really short summary of my Key Club experiences this summer and in the spring. I was thankful I got to attend Key Club International Convention in Anaheim, California this summer, as well as the Capital District Convention in Arlington, Virginia. Not only was I very grateful for the opportunity to attend both conventions, I showed up ready to learn new things to be successful. I want to say thank you to the Roanoke Kiwanis for helping fund both of my trips to these conventions. They truly are really helpful and contain tons of helpful new information that aid in the success of student leaders. Alongside over 1,000 other Key Clubbers, I was able to learn many things through workshops, keynote speakers, and by observing past lieutenant governors to help prepare me for my future in and outside of Key Club. The workshops I attended were how to create a strategic plan, navigating success as a lieutenant governor, the keys to chartering clubs, and also how to complete a successful college application. Overall, my trips to both conventions were a success, and while learning many new things, I also had a great time. Thank you again to the Kiwanis Club of Roanoke for helping fund these trips. The knowledge I have gained helped me to generate some ideas for our own Division 15B's Key Club success. The main goal I have is to increase membership and participation across the division. I plan to help make this happen by attending club meetings here and there to aid clubs and ensure their activity. I attended my home club's first meeting yesterday morning, where I saw an increase in membership and attendance and students showing much interest in serving the community. I have high hopes and cannot wait to share the successes with you guys during my next visit. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Elliot Broyles has asked for a few minutes of our time this morning. I know it says Hi Nightly is going to do his autobiography, but he was feeling a little down today, scratchy throat and all. So Elliot wanted to talk a little bit about a survey that's being done for Charter Hall. Elliot.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. First, I want to say on behalf of the City Market Building and management and our board, we appreciate you. Thank you for the weekly usage of Charter Hall. We love having Kiwanis here, and we hope that you all will continue this for years to come. You're always welcome here, and we appreciate your business here. The City Market Building is undertaking a pretty grand plan for the ground floor. So it doesn't necessarily affect Charter Hall. Events like this and the weddings and corporate events that we do will continue in this space. But over the years, especially since the beginning of COVID, the use of the building has changed, and the use of downtown has changed, and the number of workers downtown has changed. And so with all of those changes, we need to seek out what changes we should make in the building to make it more useful for the public. And that doesn't necessarily mean changing restaurants and changing the overall use as a food hall, but really programming the space in a better way. And to that end, we're first doing a branding project and then a redesign phase. The first step in that project is discovery. So Eddie Alexander, a local firm, is hosting a survey. You'll find on your tables a flyer with a QR code. You can scan that. If you're not familiar with QR codes or don't like using them, you can go to citymarketbuilding.com, and the survey is right on the front page there. It takes about 10 minutes to do, and we've asked a bunch of questions. Please be brutally honest about the ground floor space, second floor space. All of that information will help us to determine our next steps as we move into the next phases of that project. So we believe, our board and myself, we believe it's time to reevaluate, reset, and focus on the future of the Market Building. This is not a grand renovation that'll cost millions of dollars like has been done in the past to the building, but it is something that I hope you'll see very quickly, some changes to the use of the ground floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elliot. We do have some announcements today. Joyce, you want to talk about Ducky Derby? You want me to? You want me to? We did Ducky Derby at the convention. Nobody here won anything, but it was all done this year. It was all done in a computerized system. Those of us that had purchased tickets were made aware of the outcome of the drawing electronically. So you've all received texts indicating what we're doing. I think we raised over $1,140. We were the #1 participant in Ducky Derby. The goal was $15,000. I haven't heard the final number. Have you heard the final number?
13,270.
13,275 was the final number this year for Ducky Derby. And John won a basket. Oh, I got to tell you about this. John won the coolest basket. It was shaped like the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it was full of extraordinarily valuable prizes, including, and some of you may get this, but including a set of Volata 90 Max Fly golf balls, which probably haven't been manufactured since 1968. They're like hitting marshmallows. We used to hit them in college. It was, anyhow. But included, and I got to get this picture out, included in this book of extraordinarily valuable prizes was a book written by our own Mike Brocta. And I have a picture of John power reading through this book.
The highlight of the convention.
It was, without a doubt, the highlight of the convention. I laughed so hard the tears ran down my leg.
But the gift was not from it. We don't know where it came from.
We don't know where the basket came from. We don't know who the contributor of this basket was, but it had O'Brocton's book in it, and it was priceless. Just absolutely.
And I put all my entry blanks in there, so I
yeah, and it wasn't taped to the bottom of the jar this year, as he has done in the past, from what I understand. I mean, it's alleged, it's never been proven. There is a social tomorrow evening at the American Legion in Salem. Dave Spangler, do you want to do this one?
As y'all know, we have a social committee and we do things weekly, and tomorrow is, monthly. And tomorrow is the fun social dance at the American Legion. There are sign-up table sheets on the tables. Please sign up. A little underwhelmed by the sign-up last week, and so this is your last chance to sign up, or just come. You can pay at the door. It's $10, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. And Mike Wynn and Dan Chitwood and their band, the Possum Band, will be there. So it'll be live music. So it kind of gives you three options. If you're a dancer, you can come and enjoy very danceable music to the live music. If you're not a dancer or don't want to be a dancer, you can come and just be social and enjoy, just like we are here, being around tables. Or if you're in between that and you aren't a dancer yet, but you'd at least like to learn a little bit, Dot and I, the dancing duo, will be glad to help folks have fun that, as far as that's concerned too. It's $10, pay at the door. Would love to have you there. Thanks.
Thank you. Greg, do you want to talk about bocce ball?
All right, so we've got a great crowd today. Crowd last week was a little smaller, so hopefully some of y'all didn't hear this, but our bocce tournament, we're gonna have it on October 21st. Be running starting at noon, running for about 2.5 hours. It's gonna be $50 a team, but I would add you do get a couple of drink tickets and probably a Chick-fil-A sandwich or something very similar included. It's a great time. We had a really good time last year. We got awesome fields. There are soccer fields that they let us use, so you can really play some good bocce on this. It's not a lumpy old yard somewhere. So a new wrinkle this year is I have added a best dressed competition.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, no, right. Hey, John. So the key here, John, please. No, it's got to be a team best dress. So John, no, next to Mike. See, it's got to be a team best dress. Now, it's also a way. There you go. Now the John's shoes. Can we get around for John's shoes? I mean, those are. I mean, the shoes are resolution, not just commitment.
That's right.
So anyway, your costume does not have to match. So if you're a UVA fan and your buddy's a Tech fan, you guys both try to outdress each other in your own gear. See what I'm saying? San Francisco 49ers versus, I don't know, who's your rival? The Cowboys. I'd love to see. You got a Cowboys fan? You got a friend who's a Cowboys fan? There you go. So anyway, the idea is have some fun with it, show off your personality a little bit. I will tell you, I'm gonna probably be decked out in Roanoke college gear, maybe, we'll see. Also, if you got an early Halloween costume, don't be shy, go for it, have some fun with it. I've got a few folks on my committee. I need to catch up with you guys after because I want to set a couple dates to get together, but otherwise hope as many of you guys can make it. Oh, the last thing is, in an effort to drive some guest growth and introducing new people to Kiwanis, feel like this is a great opportunity, this type of event, right, where we're all out there having a lot of fun and sharing in each other's, community and having a lot of fun together. So 50% off for guest teams. So $25 for a guest team. Sorry, Kiwanians, you get to have the resolve and pay full freight. Thanks.
And believe it or not, Mike Obrachta has asked for a few moments at the microphone, so govern yourselves accordingly.
So I'm going to read to you from this week's newsletter. I'm sure for most of you, that's a repeat. You've already read it, but just in case. All 40 committees for next year have already been established. We have had volunteer leaders step up to lead all 40 committees. Now it's your turn. It's your turn to sign up to be on a committee. And here's the way that's going to work this year. You can contact the committee chair and tell him or her you want to join their committee. You can sit around here, enjoy lunch next week and the week after, and fill in a form that'll be on your tables. You can contact John Montgomery directly, and he'll get you on a list for the committees. Here's the new wrinkle, though. We're purging the directory of ghost committee members, those folks that signed up 10 years ago for a committee but really haven't been active. So your job really is to sign up anew, sign up again. Just because you've been on this blankety blank committee for a lot of years doesn't count. We're wiping the slate clean. So sign up again. Now in the newsletter, there's a list of all 40 committees, a list of the chairs of all 40 committees. And you'll see that next week on your tables. We're publishing the directory this year in October. So it means your deadline for signing up is the last day of September. All right, so let me repeat. Sign up by the last day of September. Get to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. And now we have brag bucks. Ken Briggs has asked for a particularly important brag today. So we'll start with Ken. John Pendleton wanted to do one.
I'm sneaking in.
And he wanted to do one. So I'll get out of the way.
I'm sneaking in while you guys are wandering up. So, you go to these district conventions. I've been to a couple. Maybe some of you have as well. And generally speaking, you sit through a bunch of presentations, some of which are interesting, and you get my drift. The best presentation I sat in at this conference was from a speaker I've heard many times before, but I've only heard the speaker in 1 or 2 minute segments. Well, at the conference, I got a full 30-minute dose of this speaker, and it's one of the best presentations I've heard. This is a talented speaker, our own John Montgomery. Wow. The other brag is my wife. She was the best dressed person there.
Yeah, thank you. You want me to hold that? Hey.
Thank you, fellow Kiwanians. I'm here to brag on one of our members, Don Witt. And I didn't think I could do it all myself, so I invited my pastor, our pastor, Jennifer Fletcher, to join me. But a little background on Don. He has served faithfully at Windsor Hills United Methodist Church since I've been a member for 25 years. And I knew he was too busy to be involved in Kiwanis. But I invited him to a meeting and he came. Now, he's hate done anything for our club since he's been here. Club president, wrote the long-term plan, Division 15 Lieutenant Governor, more recently selected as our regional representative on the Capital District Foundation. All that's we all know about, but then he's over there at the nature park, laying everything out, working for the city to get all the approvals for the nature park, joining Steve McGraw to build the shed, to put our hoses in. The guy has done everything. But we learned at our church a special award that he received, and I'm going to invite Pastor Jennifer Fletcher to tell you about that.
Thank you. Appalachia Service Project is a ministry which coordinates teams of youth and adults to volunteer to serve impoverished families in Central Appalachia with critical home repairs. The stated goals of ASP are to make homes warmer, safer, and drier, to build lasting relationships, and to transform the lives of those who participate. ASP was founded in 1969 when a United Methodist minister named Reverend Glenn Tex Evans, who was serving the Henderson settlement in Frakes, Kentucky, took a team of 50 youth and adults to Barbersville, Kentucky, to repair homes. They worked during the day and worshiped in the evenings, and during their time, they repaired four homes that were warmer, safer, and drier. And this event sparked what we know to be Appalachia Service Project today. The first ASP team from Windsor Hills United Methodist Church served in the summer of 1987. And Don Witt has volunteered for 32 trips since then. Now, I don't know a whole lot about home repair or engineering or construction, but I'm told that he somehow manages to use a ball of string at every job. And on Sunday, August 13th, Windsor Hills presented Don with the Golden Hammer Award for his 32 years of trips and distinguished service with Appalachia Service Project. So, Don. So I'm presenting this to him again. Thank you for your applause.
Y'all might want to move over there.
Let me read this for you. Come on up here. Okay. It says, congratulations. Windsor Hills United Methodist Church proudly presents the Golden Hammer Award to Don Witt for his longtime commitment to families in Central Appalachia, making critical repairs through the ministry of Appalachia Service Project. We thank you for your leadership on 32 ASP mission trips. Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Jennifer and I have a check for $320, $10 for each of his 32 years.
Thank you.
Wow, that's tough to follow, I'll tell you. I'm John Pendleton, and I and my granddaughter had a birthday last week. And some of you may remember, my granddaughter was born 4 years ago with some serious congenital abnormalities that required surgery and a hospitalization. But I'm glad to report she's doing great. She loves to boss me around, and she loves music, as witnessed if any of y'all were at the Possum concert last Sunday afternoon with Dan Chitwood's band. She loved playing with them, and they were nice enough to give her a tambourine. And if you, as an aside, haven't seen Don's group, they really are a treat to watch. Thank you.
Everybody, Mike McAvoy, and Ben mentioned at the beginning of the meeting today, my dad had a medical issue that required me to go out of town suddenly last week. What he didn't tell you is that I had a Meals on Wheels shift that next day and sent out an email, and Ben responded within, I don't know, 5 minutes of that and said he would take that shift for me. So, so there's some leadership from our president right there. So I want to thank him for that. And it's kind of a follow-on to that. We've supported Meals on Wheels for many years, and many of you are drivers, but they always need volunteers. And Don Wilson, I see Don over there. Don's been our leader for that activity. I think as long as I've been in the club, he's kind of headed up Meals on Wheels. So if you are interested, it doesn't take a lot of time. It's a really rewarding experience. You get to know the people on your route. So please see Don and go ahead and sign up because they always could use some extra help on Meals on Wheels. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bruce Swanson. There's already comments about the best dressed group today, and I'd like to do a little survey. How many men are wearing sandals today? There's 2 of us. That's a new trend in fashion. So maybe next week there'll be more sandal wearers. I'm not sure. And this morning, this is my week to do the pollinator garden watering, and it's interesting out there. So this morning I saw a monarch butterfly. I saw several of the yellow swallowtails and a variety of others. And as I was watering the garden area, the benches are occupied by people sleeping overnight on the benches. And they're nice gentlemen. And the one guy woke up and kind of looked surprised, and he looked around and he said, "Where's Don Witt?"
Reef Kessler again, there's a minute or 2 left, so I decided to come up here and make a brag for author Mike Obrachta. Now, they've alluded to this book. I have accomplished some things in my life, and there's still a variety of things on my to-do list, bucket list, but writing a book is not on there. So, I mean, I'm acquainted, I have knowledge of Mike's book. And although you may not have seen it in the bookstore, I think that it is only a matter of time until Oprah makes her announcement. And you'll want to get your copy before that because the price will really go up. I think it's available on Amazon. So I would recommend to you, if you want to get in on the ground level here about 4 or 5 years after the book was published, then go home and get on Amazon this afternoon.
I'm John Montgomery, secretary of the club, and I've gotten more airtime than I deserve already, so I want to be concise. I want to tell you, first off, that Stephanie's card that went around, it took sort of a erratic route. I hope we got all the tables. There's a lot of signatures on there, but if you haven't signed it and would like to, please come up and get the card or see me after the meeting. Stephanie's been supportive of many of us in lots of ways, and we want to show her that kind of love. And I appreciate those of you that make an effort to get the card around the room, because that's no small task. And you don't want to have a card at 1:30 that has 2 signatures on it. So let me plug that in advance. I also wanted to say, Matt Trantham, our new Salvation Army captain, you need to meet Ken Briggs. And Ken Briggs was up here doing his extremely generous brag. And I want you to catch him before the meeting's over because he coordinates our bell ringing. And I know you have an interest in that. And by the way, Captain, we've had, in my 27 years, we've had, I don't know, 12 or 15 captains belong to the club. No one came 3 times before they joined. And you are on it, man. We want to get you on some committees. Congratulations for that. I want to recognize our guest, Keith. Vicki, where are you seated? Over here next between Andre and David Lemon. It took a little courage for her to come. I got to tell you that she attended our convention in Richmond and happens to be longtime friends, correct? Long time? How long with Elisa? Pardon? Like a sister to you. Well, with Elisa Dick, who is from Roanoke, now lives in the Richmond area, belongs to the Midlothian Club, was the chair of the convention. And with everything the chair has, and some of you in this room, including my wife, have been the chair of the convention, knows you got a lot to do. She wanted to make sure that Vicki got to the Roanoke Club. Now that's pretty committed because I didn't know Vicki 96 hours ago. Now she's a guest of our club. She was going to be the guest of High Nicely, who was scheduled to do his autobiography and is not well today, so he's not here. She came anyway, and I hope you've got a taste of what our club's about. And I should also mention that the Braggs, although we've had several extremely generous donations today, the requirement is $2 an announcement. And I have 8 here, which is pretty modest compared to some of the ones I've received. But the last brag I need to do is on my wife, Joyce, who was so responsible for this outfit. I mean, I could have gone either way. I went to the convention, supposed to dress up like the 20s. I've gotten a lot of compliments about it today. On Saturday night, one guy came up to me and says, "How long have you had those shoes?" And I had to truthfully say about 3 hours. My wife pulled them out of the suitcase, but I sure am glad she did. Thank you, dear. So.
For the benefit of our guests, brag bucks are an opportunity to make a contribution to the foundation, and in return for that, the money goes directly to our foundation. Foundation is one of the 3-legged stools that support financially the grants, the club activities, the service projects, and the scholarships. So thank you all for bragging. Keep it up. Now, introduce our speaker, Emily Bailey.
Good afternoon. I've really enjoyed doing the speakers this month. So thank you for all the feedback for the folks that have come to be with us on Wednesday. And this lovely lady is very near and dear to my heart. As you all know, a huge fan of the farmers market, and that's where I met my sweet friend. So she's come to be a very strong person in my life, and I look up to her very much, and she's kind of what I want to be like when I grow up. So Amy White received her master's in microbiology and immunology from VCU and a certificate in field epidemiology from UNC Chapel Hill. She currently serves as the Dean of STEM and Workforce Solutions at Virginia Western Community College. Prior to working for Virginia Western, she taught microbiology and immunology at Hollins and JMU. Growing up in Buchanan and a 5th-generation farmer, Amy serves as vice chair representing the Buchanan district on the Botetourt County Board of Supervisors. Amy spends most Saturdays with me at the Botetourt Farmers Market, which is near and dear to her heart because she believes in the power of agriculture and the importance of locally produced food. And she has some pretty cool friends there. In her spare time, Amy enjoys floating the James River, hunting for mushrooms, and tending chickens. Would you please join me in a warm welcome for my dear friend, Amy.
Thank you, Emily. And I'm happy to say, because of our farmers market relationship, I'm not the only one who enjoys tending chickens. I have a chicken partner here with me today. So that's awesome. Thank you all so much for this opportunity. Emily, I'm looking for the advance button. Maybe I can just go to, or do we have the right one up?
The regular PowerPoint.
Let's go here.
Does that look like the ones you had?
Yeah, but I added something. So that one's not changing. It's not advancing. Maybe minimize that and see what we got up behind it.
That's the link.
So yeah, don't use the link. Yeah,
so
we want that
this
one. There we go. Now we're right. If we advance that. Yeah, now we're right. So I first want to thank you all so much for having me here today. And as I was thinking about the audience, one of the first things you're taught in public speaking is know your audience. So I wanted to do a little research. I obviously am very close with Emily, so I know of some of the work you did, but I wanted to dive a little deeper. And I just want to thank you, because from my research and looking at your website, I love that term, plenty of projects. That was the first thing that caught my eye. You all are so active and you do so much. And no one can mention the word Kiwanis without thinking about pancakes. So I had to put that up there. But I really do believe that your work is outstanding. You're well known. Obviously, you're well represented. To have this kind of commitment is just really, really encouraging and inspirational. And when I started to think about the community college and the Kiwanis Club, really, we have a lot in common. Our missions are very similar, and that is to serve this community to the best of our ability in many different ways. So I applaud your work first and foremost, and I'm happy to be here as a representative of Virginia Western. I will say there's lots of things we could talk about. I'm really love to come back and talk about farmers markets one day. I could also talk about Botetourt County politics, probably not want to talk about that. But today I'm representing Virginia Western, and I'm happy to entertain questions at the end. I want to recognize one of your own, Frank Rogan, who is also part of our Virginia Western team. So I want you to know that you have a Virginia Western representative in your midst anyway. So we are happy to be here on behalf of the college and let you know a little bit about what we do. But before that, you kind of have to know who I am. I want you to know who's talking to you. And the two lessons from this slide are that, number one, I'm a local. I grew up in this valley, in this region, and I am so proud of that. And I am so committed to this area. And number two, as you can see, I grew up pretty much with a strong work ethic and surrounded by hard manual labor, and really became ingrained in the community. Those pictures are from Buchanan, which is where I live now and where I grew up. My dad owned a gas station. He had the Shell station on exit 168. So that's me pumping gas at 3 years old. And we also have a farm, which I am thrilled to say is still in operation. It is now, counting my children, a 6th generation working beef cattle farm. We have primarily Angus cross cows. We do a few pigs, lots of chickens, but they don't, that's just a whole nother world. That's another talk. And my daughter has recently moved home. She graduated from vet school and she's moved back and is starting a goat herd. So we are very active in the agriculture community, and I support that very much. But those two pictures really help me to remember who I am, where I came from, and the community that I serve. So I'm kind of proud of that background. And despite the grainy pictures, it was really fun. And that's me driving that tractor, and that's my brave dad in the white T-shirt on the hay wagon behind me. So there you go. That's how I got my start. But today, after I found my way out of the hayfield and away from the Shell station, I think all those hours on the tractor gave me a lot to appreciate about the natural world. And I just always really loved animals and plants and science and all those things. So I was very fortunate. My parents had never been to college. I'm a first generation college student, but they did see fit to send me to JMU. And go Dukes, I heard that earlier. I went there as an undergrad, and I just loved it. I was a biology major. I was a first generation student, so I really wasn't sure of all the ways to navigate college, but I had a wonderful advisor and a mentor. Her name was Dr. Jean Acton. And I bring that up just to tell you that you never know the impact you're going to have on someone. And this is a mentor for me that really changed my trajectory in my life. And I think each of us has that potential within us to do that for someone else. So I encourage you to embrace any mentoring activities that you can possibly be part of. So Dr. Acton told me that I should go to VCU and go to graduate school, which I did because I loved microbiology and was really fortunate a few years later after I finished there to land my first teaching job at Hollins University. I had 2 small kids at the time. I was a single parent, not really sure what at all I was going to do with these 2 babies that I was trying to raise by myself. And I shut myself in the bathroom. You moms might know about this. They're screaming at the door, and you just shut the door so you can have a minute of peace. And I called Hollins and asked to speak to the head of the biology department. I said, I've recently moved home. I would love to go to work for you. And she said, well, we need someone next week. Can you come up? And I said, yes, I can. I think that's my second life lesson, is never be afraid to ask, right? It doesn't cost a thing to ask for what you want. So I was nice that opportunity of teaching at Hollins, and then a couple years later, I was blessed to go back to JMU and continue teaching there. But if you remember, I had these small babies. So I was driving to Harrisburg. I'm committed to living here on the family farm. Those two things didn't add up really well together. So I had to make some choices. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was absolutely blessed to then have the opportunity to become a faculty member at Virginia Western Community College here in Roanoke. And that's where I've been for almost 20 years now. And I could not be prouder to be in that institution and to work with the people that I get to work with and with the students I get to teach. Now, when I came to Virginia Western, it didn't look like this. Those of you who are in Roanoke know that there has been immense transformation on that campus. To that, I give all the credit to Dr. Robert Sandel. If you don't know him and you're part of this, you should get to know him. He is amazing and has really been part of the transformation that we see. When I started at the community college, I'm not sure how a pointer does work up there. 3 of those buildings that you see front and center were not there at that time. We have built a new health science building. We've built a student life building, and we have most recently built a STEM building, which I'll show you some pictures of today. It's wonderful for us to have a nice place to go to work. What's more important is this means so much opportunity for our students. When I was teaching in a building that's not even there now, it was Anderson Hall, and it was torn down because it was in such disrepair. That's where I started teaching, and I was kind of the mindset, it doesn't matter where you are, you can learn anywhere, I can be a good teacher anywhere, fancy doesn't matter. Then we built our first new building, and I was able to teach microbiology in a new lab. And I watched those students walk in, and they stood a little taller, and they had this bit of confidence. And I realized right then I was not correct about that. It really does matter. And for many of our students, this is the nicest, safest place that they get to go. So I'm very proud of the campus that we have. And if you have not been there, please come, and I'm happy to give you a tour. So what do we do in education? This is a quote that I think is very nice to reflect on. The aim in modern education is to train the individual for usefulness. With the present crowded curricula in schools and colleges, it is essential that the material presented for the training of students be selected with the greatest care. And that's what we really try to do. I think that's a nice mission of a college. Do you agree? That's kind of what education should be about. Well, the funny thing is, this is a quote from 1916. This is a microbiologist, and he said that many years ago. So almost a century ago, we identified that our mission is to train students for usefulness. And to me, that has grown. I kind of had a traditional academic path myself, but what I have learned now is that there are so many different paths, and we are poised at the college to offer opportunity for students that want any sort of training you can imagine, whether they want an industry credential or whether they want a 2-year transfer degree. We can meet that student's needs. And I think that's a real gift to the community. So I kind of try to keep that at the center of what I do curricularly at the college. Our solution to that challenge is to provide hands-on opportunity. And you're going to see lots of pictures of our facilities. But our philosophy in the School of STEM is to put our students at the benches, get them engaged, have them actively doing something. I do very little now standing here like this and talking from a PowerPoint. It's not the most effective way to teach. I love doing it, but it's not the most effective way to teach. We really try to get our students actively engaged in their learning. I've kind of coined that phrase that I have highlighted up there. We offer a spectrum of opportunity. And I'd really like for you to remember that. If you take anything away today, it's that spectrum. We have workforce training credentials, and I'm thrilled to announce And we're gonna have kind of I think, a big celebration about this later in the semester. But we're blending our workforce team and our academic teams at Virginia Western. That's why my new title is the Dean of STEM and Workforce Solutions. Because we believe, again, a student that wants any sort of academic credential or any sort of workforce training, they should have that opportunity. And all those opportunities should be equal. So we're bringing those two traditionally disparate parts of a college, we're bringing them under one roof. And I'm really happy about that. And Frank is certainly well poised to talk to you about some of the workforce training opportunities because he's out in the high schools recruiting students for those on behalf of the college. We also offer academic credentials. We offer career study certificates, which are short, maybe 1 or 2 semester long training programs. And then we have applied and associate degrees that many of those will transfer to our 4-year partners. We also offer a number of industry credentials, and what we see now in, especially in IT, in manufacturing, there are credentials that don't necessarily tie to a college class. You can finish them before you complete a college class, but that really increases the earning potential and the higher ability of students. So we offer all of that, and we offer it in a number of different subjects. So along with that spectrum of opportunity theme, these are some of the programs that we have in the School of STEM. This is our foyer to our new building, which again, I really encourage you to come visit. That wall is just a mixture of everything science and math that you can think of. We throw it on the wall, it's beautiful, but it really represents to me what's at the heart of STEM, and that's collaboration. We really try to get our disciplines integrated with each other. You see the long list of things on the right. You can study all those things at Virginia Western. I'm going to touch on 3 of those today. One of our signature programs is the mechatronics one, and I'll talk about that first. I'm also going to remind you about agriculture and biotechnology, which are 2 of our newest initiatives. But you can do all the traditional academic work with us as well. There's just not time to talk about all of it. So mechatronics, if you don't know, is a combination of mechanical, electrical engineering, and information technology. It is a very sophisticated field of study, but it's very hands-on. It's like the applied engineering track. So if you have students that want to tinker, they want to get into manufacturing, want to make things and solve problems, this is a wonderful field for them compared to traditional transfer engineering. It has much less math. So for many students, this is very attractive. And again, we have absolute state-of-the-art laboratories. We have funding. That's one thing that you should know about the community college is there is funding for every student. There are different ways to get it, and we have lots of acronyms that I don't need to bore you with, but just trust me, there is funding for anybody that wants to come and will work at their academic path. So that's very exciting. You see here, this is called a SIM cell. That's like a mini manufacturing assembly line. And those students go to work for industry partners like Eldor or Plastics One or Munters, lots of those companies that have located to Roanoke or to our region, they are begging for these types of employees. So they have a really, really great job outlook. This is a picture of our lab. You see that we have a classroom embedded in the laboratory again, so we can practice that hands-on approach to education. You don't sit at a desk and write for 3 hours. You're up and doing things. And a good instructor can kind of read the crowd and know when they get the blank stare. When they get the blank stare, you say, okay, let's go back to the lab and practice this. So we get them up. Our classes are very, very active. We try to do that in all the disciplines. We have a fab lab or fabrication laboratory that supports our academic programs. You see an impressive list of equipment. This is open to all of our students all the time. We have that managed by one of our graduates and its staff, student workers. And I gave a tour this morning to some industry partners from Blacksburg, and they couldn't believe it that it's accessible. Like our students can walk in there and play with, you know, the 3D printers or the CNC milling machines or whatever they want to make. They can go in there and do that. We have a club called the Appalachian Engineers. And that's what they do, is they come up with a problem, they solve the problem using these tools that we can give them. The Fab Lab, again, is really part of how we support our idea of hands-on learning. And I love this picture, and it's a really cool picture, but more importantly, that little tricycle that you see there, the students that you're looking at built that. That was their semester project in one of their mechatronics classes. It goes 30 miles an hour. I know this to be true because I watched it. It also has really, really tedious sensitive steering. I know that because I wrecked it. But you know, you talk about getting students involved. So they did it one year. This is version 1. And that young man at the front is Joel Thomas. He's employed at Gala Industries in Fincastle now in Eagle Rock, and has just soared. I mean, his career has no boundaries at this point. He did fantastic. So he was kind of the team leader for that, and they built it. And their job was they had to build it. They couldn't use any hardware. We bought the wheels and the battery, and that's all we bought. So they designed this in CAD. They cut the pieces of wood. They put it together. They did all that, and it had some fracture points. Like it had some weaknesses, and so we're like, I wouldn't get on it because I wasn't going to be the girl that broke it. So I actually wrecked version 2. So the next year we gave it back to the next class of students and said, this was version 1, make it better. So they spent the semester improving on that, and I didn't break it, it broke me, I guess is what you would say. But we do fun things like that. We try to do that in every classroom because, again, that just improves student engagement. And we also invite our industry partners into our classrooms. So I watched David Berry, our program head, give a final exam, and Carter Machinery was there to see the projects because they had given us the problem to work on. And at the end of the final exam, rather than there being tears and grades, there was the exchange of business cards and job opportunities, because that's what we're about. We have a robotics competition. Our students design their own robots, mostly in that Fab Lab. That is the first week of December. It's that Saturday, always first Saturday in December. So if you don't have anything to do, that is a really fun event to attend, and the students and their families love that. Moving forward in mechatronics, we're always trying to think positively about what's coming down the pipe and where we should be. Dr. Berry has really taken on this idea of autonomous vehicles, and he has proposed, we'll be the first in the state to do this if it gets accepted, but right now the paperwork is in Richmond to get a curriculum approved on autonomous vehicle technology, because we know that that's happening, and we partner with great partners in the region. Oh my gosh, Volvo and Torque and the CRC, we have partners at them with Virginia Tech, just fantastic work. So we're really hopeful that that's going to take off, and this will be a very exciting opportunity. Another super exciting opportunity, I think, is our biotechnology program. You might have heard about the Roanoke Biotech Project. We started off about 5 years ago, no, probably 8 years ago now. We had a grant from the National Science Foundation, and we developed a career studies certificate in biotechnology. We have some of the best lab facilities in the region. And again, this is a program that can focus on project-based learning, getting those soft skills embedded and getting that hands-on experience. And then most recently, we have partnered, and this is really exciting for Roanoke. We have partnered with Verge and RBTC, which is our tech council, the Virginia Tech Corporate Research Center, Roanoke City, and Virginia Western. The 4 of us went to Richmond. We lobbied. None of us knew how to lobby at this time, but we learned very quickly what to do and not do. Haywood Fralin helped us a lot, but we lobbied for a budget amendment year before this, and we received $15.7 million from the state. Carillion and the city of Roanoke have added to that 15.7. So we're at about a $22 million project right now that we have brought back to Roanoke. We're going to use that to renovate the IBM building on Jefferson Street and make that a shared wet lab facility for startup companies who may need facilities but can't afford it. This equipment is so expensive. And we're offering in conjunction with that a new Associate of Science degree in biotechnology. So we're providing a space and a place for the companies, and Virginia Western's role in this is to provide the workforce. We are helping to build the life science ecosystem. Brilliant has been an immense partner with Franklin Biomedical Research Institute. We just all work really well together, and people across the state have begun to notice the collaborative nature of Roanoke, and it's really starting to be a talking point in Richmond that we all get along and we're making things happen. So I'm super, super proud of that project. Another aspect of that Virginia Western is doing is we are training our K-12 teachers. For the last 2 summers, we've offered opportunity for all of our K-12 teachers to come to Virginia Western, completely paid for by Virginia Career Works, our workforce board, and Morgan Romeo has been so gracious with that. And we will train the teachers. They get professional development credits for that, and they get equipment. We give them the lab equipment so that they can take this work back to their home schools, because we feel like our students need to be exposed to the idea of biotechnology and to these career paths very early. They need to speak that language. Many of them don't even know this is a potential career path. Next summer, we are going to not only address K-12, but we're going to include our after-school care programs like Boys and Girls Club. We're going to talk to the YMCA, the West End Center, places like that, to give those instructors the tools that they need to share this kind of technology. So we're really excited about biotech as well. The last area that I'll talk to you academic wise is agriculture. The National Science Foundation, we've had 1 grant for biotech. What we're doing now is we're in the final stages of preparing an ATE grant, which is Advanced Technology Education. We currently have a Mentor Connect grant, which means we've been paired with someone for a year to help us put this project together. And what we're going to propose is called cross-pollination of skill sets. We are going to combine our mechatronics program and our agriculture program together to produce agriculture technicians to work in the ever-changing and growing agriculture industry. I'm thinking of things like robotic dairies, self-driving tractors. We hear a lot about controlled environmental agriculture. I don't know if anybody's been down to Dublin to visit Red Sun Farms. They have 30 acres of tomatoes under roof. Their goal is 60 acres. So we need technicians to work in those types of industries. So again, we're going to be the first, if we get awarded this grant, we'll be the first in the state to offer that type of training. And I'm blessed to say that we have Secretary Matt Moore, our Secretary of Ag and Forestry. He's going to be on our leadership team for that proposal should it get. And he asked us when we went to talk to him about it, he said, what are you going to do if you don't get funding? We're like, we're going to do it anyway. He said, that's the right answer. So yes. We have recently been designated as a honeybee campus. We're the first community college in Virginia to have that designation, and that coincides really nicely because Roanoke City is a honeybee city. So that's a nice fit for us. These are some of our hives. We do have 2 active hives on campus right now that are doing great. This is run by one of our adjunct faculty who works in Roanoke and works in Radford, but he lives in Roanoke, and we're very pleased to have that distinction. So we care very much about our students. As I said, we keep up with their credentials. We know that STEM jobs have some of the highest wages, so we really try to put them in positions so that they can earn excellent wages and have upward mobility.
for us to put them in positions where they can grow their careers. We are very, very excited to do that. And the other thing that's really at the heart of what we do are partnerships. We have industry partnerships who inform our facilities. They tell us what equipment they'd like us to buy. They inform our curriculum. We have educational partners. I mentioned Virginia Tech. We have 2 grants with Longwood University right now. We work closely with Hollins and Roanoke on transfer. We just signed an articulation with Bradford. So we really try to partner well with our educational partners. I serve on the state STEM advisory STEM education advisory board. So we're active at the state level, and we try to do things like this. We want to partner with our community members. So if you see any type of opportunity for us to be a partner with you and to engage in your good work, please don't hesitate to call us. So that's what I think is the best view in Roanoke. That's our 4th floor out of our STEM building. But I would love to talk about any questions or set up some time when you can come over and visit. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I think, I really want to his commitment and work with the community college access board that's helped a lot of students. I may have missed it, but could you briefly share what that is?
Oh, that is a great question. I said there's a lot of funding opportunities, but thank you for bringing that up. And again, we couldn't do any of this innovative work without Dr. Sandal's support. So we are blessed to have him in this community. I can't say that enough. Community College Access Program, that is CCAP, we call it for short. If you don't know what that is, please make this a take home from today as well. What we do is partner with our municipalities. So everybody in our service region, Botetourt County, City of Salem, City of Roanoke, Roanoke County, Craig County, Franklin County. Our education foundation partners with them, and whatever money they raise and donate to the education foundation, we match that. So that students that are finishing high school, and this program is limited to high school graduates, but any student in our service region can apply for CCAP funding. And that means they come to Virginia Western for 3 years with all expenses paid. So that is really an outstanding promise. And these are students that may have been like me and be a first-generation student. They get access to all of our support. If you're first generation, you're automatically in what we call our TRIO program, which is another grant-funded opportunity to provide tutoring, to provide counseling, to provide advising, and it is completely free. So I think one of the best outcomes of that is a student could come to us interested in healthcare. They could spend 1 year doing prerequisite work for free. They spend 2 years in our RN program, get their RN for free. Then they can go over to Carilion, and Carilion will likely pay for their bachelor's degree. So you're gonna have a bachelor's in nursing with no money, a lot of sweat and tears, right? But we have wonderful community partners who help finish what we start with CCAP. And again, this is available to all of our service area high school graduates. Now, not everyone gets funded. It depends on your municipality, but for the most part, I have not seen a whole lot of students that are turned down from this funding. We also have a number of scholarships that are used in addition to CCAP. So thank you for asking that question. I appreciate that.
And to that end, our honorarium this week goes to the Virginia Western Community College Education Foundation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's yours.
Thank you.
a lot going on this week, dance tomorrow night. Check out the website, look at the calendar, and with that, I say we're adjourned.
Yeah, great. Yep. All righty. Yep.
Really good.
Beautiful. Yeah, that was great.